Welcome back, friends. So in continuation, let's now discuss about the significance of human resource management. So the human resource management helps to achieve organizational objectives from time to time by creating a positive attitude among workers. It facilitates the professional growth of the employees through the various training and development programs undertaken by the organization from time to time to upskill and reskill their employees. And when there is a professional growth in the employees, the organization as whole also grows and develops. Then there is amicable union and management relations that is taken care of by the human resource department, and also it helps an individual to work in a team or groups. It identifies and prepares the people for top level jobs in the future, which is known as the succession planning. So where people are identified and they are trained for the top level jobs. Then next, it allocates the jobs to the right person, and when people are in a job which suits their personality, suits their competencies and skill sets, there is less absenteeism and there is less turnover or attrition. So we can say that if there are effective HR policies and practices, it will lead an organization to higher profits. The organization will have better chances to enter new businesses. Increased industrial development can be seen, and of course there will be improved or better economy. So here I will like to quote Henry Ford, who once said that coming together is a beginning, keeping together is progress, and working together is success. So human resource management actually does the working together part. So it brings people together and they make them work together so that the organization can achieve success and effectiveness. So now let's come to the limitations of human resource management. So any area, if it has advantages, it also has certain limitations which limits its functions. So the first major limitation of human resource management is that it is of recent origin. So different people have tried to define the term differently. So there is no one comprehensive definition of HRM. Some thinkers still consider it as a new name to personnel management. As I earlier said, they consider human resource management to be old wine in new bottle. So there is a lack of universally approved academic base for human resource management, and this concept is in its nascent, or we can say evolving stage, especially in India. So the second limitation is that there is lack of the top management support. So the functions like financial and marketing management are given more importance, because in those departments we can see a direct or a visible cost benefit relation is available. So if I am putting in X amount in my business and I earn a profit of Y amount, so I can easily correlate X to Y. So I know I have invested so much and I have got a profit of this much amount. But in case of human resource management, you do not see any visible effects or visible benefits of hiring people. And secondly, the training and development is considered to be a waste of time and money, though training and development is very crucial due to the changing technologies, changing environment. We have to reskill and upskill our people, but the top management feels that it is a waste of time. So that limits the scope of human resource management. In continuation, I would also say that the contribution of humans in terms of productivity is very difficult to be measured. And as Peter Drucker states, that what is not measured is not managed. So if you can't measure how human beings are related to greater productivity of the organization, how you can manage those people or the organization for that matter. So it is difficult to assess the benefit or the profit from the strategies, from the innovations and the decisions that people make. So ultimately an organization succeeds because of the strategies, the innovations and the decisions. But who does that? It is the people who make these. But the assessment of the benefit from these strategies is difficult to be measured, which limits the understanding or the significance of human resource management. Also, we all know that human resource management deals with managing people. So this very concept of managing people is tedious. It is not an easy job because there are people with individual differences. They can be having different mindsets. They have different personalities. Their attitudes are different. So no one size fits all approach is applicable. The human resource management department have to strategize accordingly to meet individual differences, because as I said, people have different personalities, they have different attitudes. So one strategy will not be motivating everyone in the workforce. And secondly, the globalization and the changing workforce dynamics have made this aspect of managing people even more complex. So it is not easy to manage people of different cultures, different personalities, different dynamics, different demographics even for that matter. That again limits the scope of human resource management. Also, it is said that the individual goals should be integrated with the organizational goals. I stated this in the nature of human resource management, that it integrates individual goals with the organizational goals. But this integration is very difficult. The reason being that there might be cultural and ethical differences between an individual and the organization. So suppose I am a human resource manager in a company and I have a very strong ethical values in my mind, but the organization wants to achieve its goals through unethical means. So will it be possible for me to attain my goals through organizational goals, or will it be possible for me to integrate my goals into the organizational goals? No, it will not be possible, and in that case I will be a misfit for an organization. So we do say that individual goals should be integrated into the organizational goals, but it is at times, we can say that at times it is very difficult to do so. So now I come to the next very important and interesting aspect of human resource management, and I have been using this phrase that people lead to competitive advantage for an organization. So, it is the people who mark the difference, it is the people because of which one organization can be differentiated from the other organization. But how do people lead to competitive advantage? So, to understand this aspect, we must first understand that what is competitive advantage. An organization is said to have competitive advantage when it exclusively offers any product at a price and a quality that its competitors cannot. So, if my organization is offering a very unique and a different product, or it might be offering a similar product same to what my competitors are offering, but at a very low price, or the product is same but its quality is better than what my competitors are offering, then I can say that I have a competitive advantage in the market. So, Google, for example, has attained competitive advantage because of its size, its innovation, its market position, and its network effect. Similarly, Facebook too has attained a competitive advantage through network effect, through constant innovations that is it does, the business model it uses, and the personalized content that is available on Facebook. So, now the question is that how do people offer competitive advantage? So, let us discuss this point by point. The first important aspect of people is that when people join an organization, they bring their knowledge, their skills, their capabilities, systems, practices, speed and behaviors, and all these aspects of a human being help execute the firm's strategies successfully. So, strategies are not built in by robots or by machines or by technology. Who builds these strategies? Who crafts these strategies? It is the people through their knowledge, their skills, their capabilities. So, a strategy can be implemented only through people. It cannot be done by physical resources like technology that some organization boast of, their infrastructure, their machines, etc. So, it is the people who craft and execute strategies effectively. And you know, many organizations have succeeded immensely just because of the strategies that they evolved or the timing of implementing those strategies, which is of course the brain of the people who are working. So, that is why we say that people lead to competitive advantage. So, now the HR managers are becoming strategic partners. So, this is how the role of HR managers is evolving and changing, especially in the multinational corporations or multinational companies that are operating in our country. So, the HR manager is not limited to giving experience certificates or bonuses or just making the paychecks. So the function of HR manager is becoming more strategic. So HR professionals work with the line managers to identify the HR practices that help accomplish business strategy. So these practices and policies play a crucial role for the organization in accomplishing the business strategies. The third very interesting and very important significance of people is that people innovate. So innovation is the key to competitive advantage, and it is the people who bring about innovations in an organization. For example, you must be aware of the Google's rule of 70 by 20 by 10. So very interesting to know that Google advises its employees to spend 70% of their times on doing their own jobs, that is, whatever the job has been given to a particular employee, he or she must spend 70% of its time in doing that job. But at the same time, they should spend at least 20% on some adjacent innovations within that job, like how you can do that particular job in a more efficient manner, in a different manner, thereby increasing your efficiency, or thinking of certain other innovations for that matter, but related to your job. So 20% on adjacent innovations within that job. But most interestingly, they want their employees to spend at least 10% of their time on disruptive innovations. And what are disruptive innovations? That is, creating new products that are not currently in use but have a potential in future. That means those products or those processes are nowhere in the business scenario right now. They are not being currently used, but which may have a potential, which may be exploited in future. So the organization would be at a very beneficial phase. They can benefit from early innovations. So whenever a change occurs, this organization will be ready to adapt to the changes in the environment, while other organizations will be just trying to look out for solutions. So that is how Google manages innovations through its people. So it wants that at least 10% of each employee's time should be invested in developing new products which may be used in the future. So next, how people lead to competitive advantage is by mediating employee grievances, monitoring the compliance with employment laws, and helping the workers overcome the limitations that hinder their performance. So we all know that an organization is a social setup where people work together, and as I said, the people are diverse in their natures, they are different in their perceptions, their personalities, their style of working, their attitudes towards work as well as towards the co-workers. So there are chances that people in a group or in a team do not gel with each other, and so they do not perform well. Have you ever heard of two robots having conflict? No. But it is only people who have conflicts, who disagree, who have grievances. So the HR department, by mediating these grievances and also monitoring that all the employee laws, employment laws, statutory aspects are taken care of, so that the limitations that hinder their performance should be overcome. So when employees feel that their grievances are heard, there are people who can resolve conflicts, so that leads to better trust and confidence in the organization or in the working of the organization, which leads to better performance of the people. So what HR does, or what the people in the HR department do, is that they seek to convert an adverse situation into an opportunity. So the adverse situation is the conflict between employees or employee and the boss, employee or the top management, and the opportunity is that when these grievances are heard, when these grievances are listened to, they are sorted out through mediation, the workforce feel motivated and they have a sense of belongingness for the organization, and automatically their performance improves. So the next aspect of people leading to competitive advantage is that organizations today are compelled to redesign their structures due to certain internal as well as external environmental changes taking place. So we all know that environment is ever changing and lot of changes are taking place, and it shall obviously continue in future also, because environment is never static, it is dynamic. So the organizations now are compelled to redesign their structures, and it is these innovative human resource strategies that support the organization to adopt uncertainty avoidance and differentiation and integrating the mechanisms to cope up with these environmental changes. So through innovative strategies developed by the human resource management, the organization can develop a good coping mechanism for the betterment and success of the organization. So let's here take the case of Microsoft, a giant company. It was enjoying phenomenal success of Windows and Office products, but internally it was still struggling to keep up with other companies like Google. So when Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft, joined in 2014, he started major restructuring of the organization so as to eliminate its destructive internal competition. That is what we talked of, the internal redesigning of the organization. So it is again the people who do this restructuring or redesigning of the organization. So what he did was, that now the products and platforms would not be separate groups. Instead, what he did was, or what he emphasized on, was focusing on a limited set of common goals. So instead of having, very large number of goals, he instead limited those goals and developed a positive sense of purpose. This led to high morals of the employees and enhanced employee engagement. So now people were more enthusiastic about working because the focus was on limited goals instead of a wide array of goals. People were more satisfied in their jobs. They were passionate about doing their job. So that is what an organization wants at the end of the day. They want happy people, they want engaged people, and all this leads to their retention. And when happy, satisfied, engaged people are retained in an organization, it leads to effectiveness. It leads to higher productivity. So that is a very interesting case of Microsoft, that how one person changed the entire scenario of the organization. Next, another very interesting and very important aspect that people bring into an organization is effective leadership. So it is the people who lead an organization. You must have heard of Narayan Murthy, the founder and former CEO of Infosys. You must have heard of Dhirubhai Ambani from Reliance Industries, and Steve Jobs, the former CEO of Apple. These leaders were visionary. They were pioneers in bringing innovations and effective leaderships to their organizations. So they are almost synonymous with each other. You cannot think of Infosys without thinking of Narayan Murthy. The moment I say Reliance Industries, you think of Dhirubhai Ambani. The moment I say Apple, apart from the phone that we all are obsessed of, we think of Steve Jobs. It is because these people have been so effective in their leaderships that they have left a legacy of values, of ethics, of innovation that still lead their organizations to sustainable growth. So that is the impact that people have on organizations. That is the impact that even after almost a decade of Steve Jobs' death, the Human Resource Management Department still uses his motivational videos for the new recruitees. So that is the legacy that a person leaves behind, an effective leader leaves behind. The values, that ethics, these all aspects are brought about not by technology, not by capital investment, but by effective leadership. So that is how I conclude my today's lecture. So we talked about the various functional aspects of human resource management. What are the objectives of human resource management along with its functions? And in the end, we discussed the most crucial aspect, that is how people lead to competitive advantage for an organization through their strategies, through the decisions they make, by restructuring the organization according to the changing requirements of the environment. And most importantly, it is the people who are effective leaders, leaving behind a legacy of values and ethics. Thank you.